Welcome back to another Tactical Tuesday. Today we're going to discuss running the rabbit. Now, obviously, there are many thoughts on this, and there's lots of different places and scenarios where you can do it. So let's just kind of hop into it. First, we're just going to talk about doing it indoors, and then we'll discuss like an outdoor scenario where you might use it. So, with that said, let's get into it. So, running the rabbit, very simple concept. Instead of us making entry, right? In this example, we've already made entry right here, right? So what's happening here is you have one guy holding the angle here, right? This angle. And then you have the two-man right here who's going to be pushing across the known danger area, exposing himself and potentially drawing fire instead of this 1 and 2 man making entry and pushing the threat. Now, there's many reasons why this is a great move, and one of the biggest ones is this threat is unknown, right? If they have not crossed this danger area, this doorway, they have no idea where this enemy is, where this threat is. This person could be here, they could be in this corner, this corner, this corner. You know, they could be anywhere, right? So when all that's said and done, running the rabbit, what that allows you to do is gain all that information without actually having to cross the threshold of that doorway. Because if you cross the threshold of this doorway and you run into contact, now potentially 1 man or 2 men have made it into here and have been waxed, and now they're cut off from potentially the rest of the team, right? So running the rabbit allows for this 2 man to gain a ton of information, and obviously as he's moving, his angle is changing, right? So he's getting to see further and further into this corner the more he moves up this y-axis. Once he reaches here, he can move up to this area and clear as much of the room as possible without actually making entry, right? So this is a great way to get information that you can pass back to the 2-man, 3-man, the support team, so that when you make entry, everyone already kind of knows or has a good idea about what's coming up next, right? Because you'll be able to potentially, there's almost, I won't say never, but, if there is a door here, you can probably see it. He'll be able to call out windows, or if there's another doorway, potentially to another room, right? So there's lots of information that then can get passed back instead of just rushing in to take the threat. Now, because you also don't know how many people are in here. There could be multiple. So it's a great resource, and tactic when doing room clearing or even outdoors, and we'll get into that next. But this is the main reason, is to get as much information back so that when the team actually makes entry, they already have an idea of what's ahead. I won't beat that too much of a dead horse for me to continue saying anything more about it. It's really simple. That's running the rabbit inside. And obviously, if he starts taking fire, then you know for sure someone's in there also. And let's say he takes fire here, right, or here, anywhere along this y-axis, instead of right here, or if they're making entry and takes contact. Again, even if the second man doesn't make it in, you have one potential friendly that is down, kind of cut off, because there's this wall between the two elements, right? So if he can take cover, or if he takes contact here, and let's say he goes down, it's much easier to get him out, right? Because let's say he's going this way and all of a sudden he takes contact. He's only going to take contact from so many angles, right? So as he's moving up, if he takes contact, then the easier it is to extract him and get him out to safety where they can maybe work on him if he's not already KA, right? So with that said, that's kind of running the rabbit indoors. Now we can kind of look at what it would be like outdoors. So let's just say, hypothetically, you're at a crossroads, right? Here's our 4-way intersection. These are buildings, right? And let's say we're moving this way along this road. Now, typically what you'll see in like a patrol pattern or whatever the case is, you'll probably be in like a staggered column, right? And so what'll happen is, as you're moving up to this intersection, this danger area, they'll start to even out each side, right? you have a person here, and maybe even one more person behind them, depending, who will hold that front, right? While these guys pop the corner. So once these guys pop the corner, boom, then this person will basically get bumped by the person behind them. Sorry. Right? And that person is going to run the rabbit across to the other side until they get to this point. And you might even do it in pairs, just depending on how big this danger area is, so that this person can maybe support this person holding this way, and the next person will hold this way until the next set is bumped across. Now, when you're doing this, this is one way to bump. Now, depending on the speed that you need to flow at, what oftentimes will happen is these two people on either side will stay here, helping support the security going that way and going this way, while the rest of the element continues to cross, so that they're not having each person stop. And then what will ultimately happen is the elements that first started on this side will, once the whole section is through, or the element is through, they'll pick up the rear until the next, danger area, or whatever the case may be. Depending on, again, it all depends on how much friction you're in, how much engagement is happening. So this is more of like a combat role, and where like the danger is really high, where your threat level is really high. This is kind of a more typical movement with running the rabbit across like a more open danger area. It's really just to draw fire and see if there's anything there. So it's just kind of, it's the same concept with gas masks to some level, right? You can run the rabbit with the gas mask. You can, if there's an actual threat, at some point, someone's got to take their mask off to see if the threat is no longer there, because you can't see gas. So, well, some gas. Anyways, I hope this helps. I hope this helped make understanding running the rabbit a little bit easier. I threw in some extra elements here for the outside, but we'll get into more as we keep going. Thanks for tuning in. As always, stay loose, battle on, and if you have a bitch in your heart, it will show.